Interest. Record by email. Oh, yeah, it's okay. Nothing. Okay.
We will go ahead and call to order the Wednesday, October 16th, 2024 City of Solon regular council meeting. That will start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call: Duncan. Here. Barlow here. Gabriel. Here. Kramer. Here. Whitehead.
Here.
The civility pledge: we pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, and acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community. Will to perfect and approve the agenda. Any changes to the agenda tonight, Cam? Do we have a motion to perfect and approve the agenda?
I'll second.
All right, Duncan.
Yes.
Barlow.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Kramer.
Yes.
Whitehead.
Yes.
Next is citizen speak. This is time for anybody to address any items that are not on the agenda tonight. Yes.
Hi, a lot of you already know me. I'm Julie Persons. I'm the mayor over in Swisher. I am running for county auditor this year. Since I'm running unopposed, I am probably going to get the seat. So I just wanted to introduce myself since we haven't had a new auditor in about 12 years. Since I am from a small town, I ran on small town outreach. I think there's more of the kind of doing for the small communities in Johnson County. So, theoretically, I will be taking office on November 13th because it is an empty seat. So if you need anything, feel free to reach out. I just wanted to make sure you knew my voice.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right. Next, I will look to consent the agenda. So that would be approval of the minutes from the October 2nd regular meeting, approval of list of bills, treasurer's reports and transfers, building permits, which there is one. And then before we vote, we have the Girls on the Run event, which we have somebody from the event on if they'd like to talk through the upcoming event.
Hi, yeah. You want me to speak on that right now then?
Yes, if you would.
Sounds good. Hi, everybody. I'm Naomi, and I'm the program manager for Girls on the Run of Eastern Iowa. If you're not familiar, Girls on the Run is a nonprofit organization for 3rd through 8th graders. It's an after-school program where they do social emotional learning and physical activity. And the end of the season culminates in a 5K. So they're working all season to kind of build up their lap goals to be able to achieve a 3.1 mile run or walk. So the 5K, we've applied to be using the Solon Recreation and Nature area on November 9th. The 5K itself would take place starting at 10 a.m. Setup would begin earlier, around 6:30, and people would arrive between 9 and 9:30. And then we'd anticipate the trail would be empty and cleared by at the latest 11:30. So that's our event. We anticipate about 300 people. This is the participants, which is about 145, and then a running buddies. So this is a family member, a teacher, or somebody who accompanies them along the 5K and cheers them on. So, and then in addition, we'll have about 30 to 40 volunteers there to help us make sure everything goes smoothly.
Questions about the event?
This event. Typed up and everything. Wow.
No, thank you for the thoroughness on the application with that as well for
Yes.
talking us through that tonight. So with the event and the other items read through already, do we have a motion to consent the agenda?
I'll move to consent the agenda.
Second.
Duncan?
Yes.
Barley?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Whitehead?
Yes.
That takes us down to the Public Works Director report. Scott?
Yeah. Yesterday, I submitted the completed
EPA's lead and copper service line inventory. Something that's been ongoing for a couple of years. Every community water supply has to submit this, and it's an inventory of every service line within the area. We have roughly 1,450 service lines. And doing this survey, you really had to rely on some of the old records. And then also, I've been here 26 years and I've pretty much seen about every block dug up, so that helped quite a bit. We did identify 3 properties that we're unknown about the lead. They do have galvanized lines, and characteristically, if somebody had a galvanized line going into their property, most likely they have a lead connection before that. So that's just something we'll have to wait for EPA guidance on how they want us to address that, but 3 out of 1,450 is nothing. I mean, it's great. So Solon's in a great position with lead and copper. I drafted a sidewalk inspection policy, submitted it to Cammie today, and she's reviewing that. It's just taking our sidewalk inspection that we do every year, and actually having it in a policy form. So, people, if somebody wants to see what our policy is, we've never had anything in writing before. We'll be listing on GovDeals our 2009 F-350 service body truck, and also the 2008 Ranger pickup. I plan on getting those out by the end of the day Friday on GovDeals. Public Works staff will be attending the AWWA conference in Coralville next week. Leaf collection begins next Monday, the 21st. And we continue this weekly through November. And then lastly, Solon was selected to participate in a program through the EPA, creating resilient water utilities. And it's a free climate change risk assessment, technical assistance program. Solon is one of 75 water sector utilities in the US to be selected for this. It was something I did apply for. So maybe we were one of 75 that applied, I'm not sure. But I'll keep you informed on how that's going. I think I want them to concentrate on our water supply, especially in drought conditions. And they're saying that, you know, the climate change for us is more of a drought condition type of environment that we have. So other than that, I have nothing. I have something. My wife just texted me that the community center is all locked up. There's kids waiting there to get into the gym, and the church can't get in either.
Alright. Run down there and lock it, I guess.
All right, okay.
Leave it.
Thanks, Scott. We will go ahead and skip over the director report with Brody, take care of that, and we can circle back to that once he's back. It's item number 10. All right. Next we have V online. V, will hand it over to you with an update.
Yeah, thank you. Well, we had early voting start today at the county administration building and HHS. So from 8 to 5, we have, voting stations available in our administration building, and then we have drive-through also available through the HHS parking lot. So we've had a lot of activity. Definitely encourage folks to, come down and vote. The early voting will be available all the way through the election. So just wanted to remind folks 8 to 5. Other than that, we're getting ready to head into our budgeting season. Today, we finalized our calendar, so we'll be cranking out, hearing from departments and, looking at our roads and all of that starting the next month. So, yeah, if there's things you want me to relay to the board, again, always let me know if there's information I can bring to you. I can try and bring that for next time. So that's all I have, unless folks have any questions.
Thanks for calling in, Beat.
Yeah, thank you.
That takes us to new business, so resolution 2432, Trail Ridge Part 2, final plat.
This is the final plat for part 2. You should have in your packet, you should have a copy of the resolution, a copy of the actual final plat, as well as an update from Dave Scheckinger, who couldn't be here tonight. Scott and Dave have completed their inspection. The punch list items have been completed according to Dave. There is a variety of paperwork that Kevin has been working on with their attorney. That is all in order. And then in addition to maintenance bonds, which I've received, we will confirm all the paperwork before we sign off on the actual plats that will get recorded along with the subdividers documents. The resolution before you basically says that your approval is subject to all the typical things that go into a final plat: subdividers docs, maintenance bonds, approved housing plan as built, which we've received, any outstanding engineering balances, easements, park requirement, and punch lists. There are no punch lists in this situation, so I recommend approval of the final plat for Trail Ridge Estates Part 2.
Any questions over that?
I will move to approve resolution number 2432.
I'll second.
All right, Duncan.
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Gabriel.
Yes.
Kramer.
Yes.
Whitehead.
Yes,
Takes us to item 13, Trail Ridge Estates Part 3 concept.
So what you'll have in your packet is a concept for, so if you may recall, and there's a copy of the original phase plan in your packet. There are originally 4 phases to Trail Ridge Estates. And those are shown, phase 3 is shown on that in green in that original 4 phases. You can see if you look at the newly proposed phased plan that they're splitting up part 3 into part A into part B. You'll also may recall that Watts Group brought back a condensed part 3 earlier this year that council did not approve. It was I think 6 lots or so, and they were really just trying to get that adjacent park done. The recommendation from staff was that it created a lot of, we felt, administrative issues because there's so many agreements related to this subdivision that we would be sifting through to go back and basically review and update for 6 lots. Also that the 6 lots did put them over the 65 lot requirement for a second access. You will see in this new version that it's hard to see, but up here next to the purple, it does include the second access. Dave has put his thoughts in writing, and that's in your packet. And of course, Scott and Dave and I all have met with Watts Group. There is going to be required some rezoning because things don't line up exactly as they did a few years ago. Things have shifted. There were some wetlands. The roads have changed just slightly because of that. So there will be a rezoning that has to happen. And then of course the preliminary plat. I just offer Scott to weigh in on his thoughts.
Yeah, I actually like this scenario. And I just read Dave's comments And, agree with everything he has on there.
Thanks, Scott. So one of the reasons that we brought the concept before the council tonight was because the last part 3 made it through P and Z and then did not pass council. So we just want to avoid that. You know, it's expensive to get plats ready and go through that process. So I just encouraged, Adam and John to come and, you know, get the council's thoughts. It deviates from the original phased plan. And just to make sure that council supports that before they would begin the formal process of rezoning and the preliminary plat for part 3.
Adam, is there anything that you guys?
Sure, no,
Let's talk
to echo what Amy said, you know, we heard you guys last fall when we were in here, I think it was in November, about this. So this version, has our secondary access. It's a little bit more substantial, as far as the number of lots. It gets us the secondary access, which kind of paves the way for the majority of this subdivision to get done until the very last part, and we need a third. And then as far as so that we're all aware and comfortable, as far as the counts from the original plat to this revised one here, there's 4 less duplex lots than there was on the original one approved. And then there'd be 5 less of the R3 single family lots, than the original. So when she talks about there's some of this zoning stuff, it was, we had to zone stuff and put it where we thought we were gonna hit those spots. And some of the roads shifted down just a little bit because of topography or engineering. And so when we had to go back, we started just shifting some of those boundary lines around to match the updated.
Does this avoid any massive happening on your end?
Well, from my perspective, and I won't speak for Kevin, I'd rather go through it for a phase this size than a phase of 6 lots. It just seems to be, you know, unnecessary for a phase of 6 lots. Especially when we know they would be coming back very quickly with the next phase. As far as the administrative burden, we just have to go through. There's several agreements that are tied back to that the original plan, and we're just gonna have to take some time and go through that. We just didn't want to spend a lot of time doing that until we know kind of how you guys felt about the idea first.
I think anytime, and some of the concern that we talked about last time with the 6 lots, anytime we change too far from the original plan, especially for a small subset of that, that was some of the concern with such a small change, and would that, you know, create precedent for future development and things like that. I agree with something this size, definitely feel like it makes a lot more sense, and it's hard to predict from the concept on paper before you move any dirt to, you know, a year or so later, where things line up. I do like that it creates the second access point, especially, you know, Scott and the crew feel like they will help them out as well. It won't create additional burdens or anything like that. I would be in favor of it, just to see as things are progressing out there as well. I don't know if anybody else has comments, questions, or concerns with it.
Makes sense to me.
Hearing the motion. Do we need a motion to send it to P and Z, or do you just from the?
So that, you know, we will start the process. We'll get the rezoning taken care of so that it overlays on the map correctly, and then follow that with the preliminary plat for the phase 3. Yeah.
Based on where you're at now, do you feel like with how you have this mapped out for phase 4, 5, 6, and 7 on there, that there will be many changes on from what we have up here with the new addition?
I don't think so. I mean, market will drive it ultimately. I mean, from what we originally put in, we've got a lot of oversized lots out there, and our smaller single family lots would like that. And so this next phase gives us back to some more traditional single family side ones. And then we anticipate that the stuff across the top of our pond is going to be pretty popular. The stuff below the pond was very popular, so it'll probably push us across there, and then we start looking through just how we get the rest of the way out and taking from the low spot where the sewer goes, rolls down to working from the bottom to the top, so that's good. Thank you guys for your time.
Next, we'll do the equipment purchase, then we'll bounce back to, your, Brody on that. Scott?
Yeah, like you guys to approve a purchase that we've already made. Typically don't do it this way, but, we had an opportunity come before us that we took advantage of. And, it's really brought our fleet back up to, a nice running, dependable fleet. As you can see, we're getting rid of two of the vehicles, that have used their useful life, so. Yes, if you guys go ahead and approve this, please.
From a funding standpoint, my understanding was road use. tax
Yeah, we're gonna
and
be
funding.
taking this out of road use, which we have a surplus of over 700,000.
I'll move to approve the equipment purchase.
No second.
All right, Duncan?
Yes.
Barlinger?
Yes.
Gabriel?
Yes.
Kramer?
Yes.
Whitehead?
yes,
All right, we will, circle back to the rec director report. Brody?
Alright. Been a little while since I've been here. I brought up the spring, summer, fall programming from 2023 to 2024. There was a dip in all of our programs in those seasons. I went back and looked like from the 5-year perspective of it all. Last year was our highest in all of those sports, so I assumed there would be a little bit of a dip. I didn't think there was going to be as much as what there was, but I talked to Mount Vernon, Lisbon, Anamosa. They're in our basketball league with us. They said that they had the same thing, a dip in a lot of their sports, especially basketball. Our basketball numbers weren't too low. Basketball just starting up right now. All the fall sports just ended up the last 2 weeks. Great weather for football, soccer, all that. Basketball is gonna start up in November. We'll have games for the 3rd through 6th grade girls, on Saturdays at the community center and, those towns that I just mentioned. And then, Monday and Tuesday evenings, we'll have 1st and 2nd grade boys and then 1st and 2nd grade girls. And that's one of our, bigger programs, I would say. Boys is almost full and girls is about 3/4 way full right now. So I anticipate those are gonna fill up. I added some new programs last year, or in the last year, dance and tumbling. We do that at the old fire station. We use the old meeting room in there and it actually worked out perfectly. We brought in 36 kids for dance and tumbling this fall. And then we incorporated summer camp last summer during the period where baseball, softball, t-ball is all done and we kind of had nothing going on. So we had 18 participants in that. I think your son was talk to him a little bit. Other upcoming events other than basketball, we had Top Time start back up during the school year. We do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning at the community center. We got some inflatable stripes toys for the little kids that are still home with their parents, $2 for that. I think this morning we had like 10 kids and their grandparents or babysitters with them. October 27th, we have our trunk or treat down at the SRNA, the Monster Mash Bash. Last year, I think we had about 1,500 people that were there. We got candy, crafts, food trucks, and bouncy houses. And the only thing that's of cost is the bouncy houses, just $5. You bounce as much as you want for 3 hours. We started family movie nights up at the community center the last couple months. I was there this Saturday with Liz. We did The Nightmare Before Christmas. And in November, our movie is the new Trolls movie. I pulled the numbers from the 2023 calendar year for our field rentals, just to give you guys a little perspective, because before I got here, we put some money into the fields to renovate them. 2023, we're at $4,936.50, and 2024, after our fall softball rentals, will be about $7,255. So a nice uptake in that. So it obviously shows that people want to use the nice fields down there. And we completed a couple of projects. I don't know if I was here after we completed the dugouts down on field 3 and 4, but those look really nice. It was a project that I kind of helped Scott's crew get going there. I got some sponsorship donations that covered all that. And then my crew cleaned and put down new paint on the tennis courts. and put down new nets, so they basically look like brand new tennis pickleball courts down there. And then in the spring, we're gonna look to, move the outdoor volleyball courts over next to Timber Dome. And we're gonna have 2 courts, and then the old sand pit that's next to 3 and 4 is gonna turn into a smaller, playground. So we're gonna use that space too, so it's kind of what we got going on in the future and what we got going on past, I guess, since I've been here.
I know from having teams from out of town come and play when we hosted games, there's lots of conversations about just how nice our facilities were up there. And just looking, I think we were in a league of 10 or 12 teams. We were the first team to have our home games scheduled by out of town teams that everybody was itching to get into town with it. So I think it just, between you and Scott and the gang, just the upkeep, everything down there. So appreciate everything you
And
guys do.
the two sports that we probably saw the biggest thing was flag football and then, baseball, softball, t-ball. We have some club sports for that group of sports. But again, like you said, we have teams coming in and playing on our fields that may not be Parks and Rec, and same goes for flag football. There's a group in Iowa City called Red Zone. I don't know if you guys are aware of that, but it's essentially a club flag football organization, and they rented our fields to have some Solon kids play at home. So we did make a little money there where we, didn't have our kids in our program, so.
Any questions, comments?
Thank you all for finding that great work.
All right, that takes us down to council committees. So I get no update from streets or utilities. Nothing from finance or personnel. Any updates on the building needs with Jordan Creek outside of the update that you gave last meeting?
Not really, still just some conversations, things are just, still a lot of sorting out to do as far as parcels and annexation. All conversations are going well. Just really nothing tangible to really share at this point. I did want to stop back to streets. Scott's put, as Scott mentioned, he put some, he took the time to put our actual sidewalk policy into a formal policy. It's a policy we've been following for a long time. But we've had a lot of communities ask, like, hey, can you send us your sidewalk policy? And we realize we really don't have it in a nice format. Scott's done that. I think the streets committee we'll have them take a look at it before we bring it to council.
Right. No updates from the police committee. I said the contract that we approved, I believe at the last meeting or meeting before, is signed in Brad's hands there.
And Scott and I have a meeting with Lieutenant Wissman tomorrow to kind of frame up the animal control portion of that.
All right, and lastly, the city school, I know you're working on trying to get schedules to align after the drafts of just all the documents that were, or previous agreements were consolidated to a document. Were sent out. Any updates on that?
I have not heard from Davis on that. He said he was meeting with his small committee and would get back to me as soon as he had an update.
All right. Next, city clerk report, Susan.
No.
All right, Cammy.
Oh, I just wanted to be reminded me about budget, and we have also started our budget process. Requests went out to the various departments this week. Travis and I will be attending a budget training in November. And so yes, it's officially budget season, so.
Never ends.
All right, well, thank you for the start on that in advance for all of the legwork that you and all the department heads will be doing over the next few months as well. All right, council comments? Here. Mayor comments remind us with voting, voting will be at the library this year, correct? For the city, so it will not be up here this year, so just a reminder for folks with that.
And to keep in mind that Trail Ridge, while it is in city, they vote Cedar. So
They vote, or Newport?
the township,
Newport, so they probably
Sorry.
vote at the church.
yes.
Yeah. Cedar's this way.
Sorry,
So yes,
yes.
they're Newport, so they probably vote at St. Mary's.
So even though they're within city limits, it's just another one of those like tricky things. We have a map at the library in the hallway that helps delineate that so that you can figure out where you vote depending on where you're living.
And if you do vote at Cedar, if you do live in Cedar, you vote at the Sutliff shop. And if you are, I'm sorry, Big Grove is at the church. Newport is at the Celebration Farm.
Why is it when somebody's in the
Yeah,
city
you're right.
limits, they
Church
don't
is Big
vote?
Grove.
It is
Yeah.
Big Grove. What was that?
What's the why behind, if they're in the city limits, why don't they vote where everybody else does?
I'm trying to think, because there's one in Corville where some of the city goes to Liberty High School and votes, so I'm not quite sure what if there's a limit
It's
on
something
how.
with the precincts.
I think there's a
Yes.
limit of like 3,500 or so, I can't, there's a limit on number you can have in there. And the problem is, I don't think we have enough to have two yet, and I think that's part of the issue. Off the top of my head, when we redistrict.
Okay.
I wish the auditor was still here, that auditor candidate. We would get the answer.
There you go.
All right, lastly, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Hi.
Any opposed? All right, meeting is adjourned.
Have a good night, guys.
You too.